Hello everyone, my name is Ty. Today we're going to be talking about a Dying Light 2 Q&A that was only released in Chinese, so I decided let's translate it over and discuss it. The Q&A is with the man, the myth, the legend, the Dying Light franchise director, Tymon Smektala. So let's not waste any more time and dive into the first question. Bloody Ties has its own uniqueness but has not received enough love. Are there any plans to further develop it? For example, more modes added to DLC 1 based on existing challenges, endless challenges, infinite resurrections, super difficult bosses, etc. In addition, is it possible to add elements to improve the game experience, such as a quick travel point back to Villador from Carnage Hall? Tymon went on to say, "We will consider these issues in the future. The DLC has extremely high replayability potential and challenging activities. It would be a shame to let it go to waste. When we get started, we'll definitely make Carnage Hall more accessible." The next question is, have you considered adding more elements to enhance the New Game Plus experience, such as directly unlocking metro or fast travel points? Tymon said, in fact, this is quite difficult to achieve and requires more resources to be invested, but we will consider it. Though we still have several new content to produce, and this may not be realized before the second quarter of 2024. Next question, have you considered adding more rewards to encourage players to launch New Game Plus? Like, what can I use to start the third or fourth playthrough? Tymon then said, we already have some ideas and will implement them later on. One simple and crude way is to increase the amount of experience for multiple weeks, but it may be more than that. Moving on, how does Techland plan an in-game event in Dying Light 2? Tymon stated, there is no easy answer to this question, but in short, we are always actively looking for a point, a special feature or idea that makes players excited. Sometimes the linkage of adding another beloved IP into our world is attractive in itself, and sometimes it's the gameplay itself, such as the airdrop boxes in the Winter Tales event. One thing that needs to be emphasized is that we are still learning event planning, and this kind of design is still a new challenge to us. But we have also been summarizing the important elements of event success and failure and improving them. Next question, will there be more varied activities and richer gameplay missions in 2024? We've just had enough of the same cliche stuff like collecting bounties and killing zombies. Tymon said that's exactly what we're aiming for. We need to adjust the number of activities and then allocate resources and time to improving the quality of them. Make every event unique. This is also a valuable lesson we learned in 2023. Tymon also went on to say in the next question that another gain at 2023 is that we need to lower the threshold for all activities so that all players, no matter novice or expert, can enjoy it. The next question is about weapon mods, where it states the appearance of weapon mods does not match the weapon itself. Are there any plans to let players choose to show physical mods on weapons? Tymon went on to say, we have discussed this idea and there are currently some similar ideas on the agenda, but to be honest, this project is still in the preparation stage and we are focusing on other parts of the roadmap. If we come back to consider this issue someday, it will be around the second quarter of 2024, probably not earlier. The next question is, will Transmog be considered to be added to weapons? Maybe only weapons of the same type can be transmogrified? Tymon said, we haven't considered this feature yet, but it's a really good idea. Please contribute to our community suggestions and we will see if this suggestion gets high votes in the player community. Another question is, will the function of selecting multiple weapons and equipment be added for mass assembly? And Tymon went on to say, for now we're focusing on already announced features, but this suggestion seems like a good fit for the next community update. We got 4 questions left. Will blueprints be considered for the items rewarded by the event? For example, the blood bottle and the Vampire the Masquerade event that we got recently. Tymon's response is, we are planning to bring back some of the previous events and looking for ways to improve them, so we won't completely close the door on this proposal. Moving on, will you consider adding blueprints of Easter egg weapons for upgrading? And Tymon went on to say, Easter egg weapons are Easter eggs at the end of the day and they're essentially a cool joke. But at the same time, they're such an integral part of the Dying Light world that maybe we really haven't thought about that before. This is the first time I've seen this demand, but now that you say it, it really makes sense. Now, this next question is a little bit confusing. I think I ran into a translation error, but let me know what you think. Have you considered adding a Pigeon Mode to Dying Light 2? Tymon said this idea is very interesting. We're actually testing some gameplay internally, but currently it is still in a relatively early experimental stage, and there's not much content to share yet. The final question is, will there be a follow-up to the Dying Light food series, and will a cooking system maybe be added to the game? Tymon's response is that we have no plans to add a cooking system yet, but we were really surprised by the popularity of the food series. We did not expect that food in Dying Light could create such a spark. I am actually somewhat confident in my cooking skills. Do you want to try my Dan Dan noodles or mapo tofu? So I will keep this idea in mind. And with that said, that's the entire Q&A with Tymon Smektala translated. Overall, I found that to be a really interesting interview that brings up weapon transmog, new Bloody Ties content, more New Game Plus rewards, but the best thing, better event and mission design in 2024. There were some pretty good answers in there, so I'm quite surprised that we didn't get this translated to English immediately, but I'm glad to do the honors and give it to you all today. If you enjoyed and don't mind seeing more of me, then feel free to subscribe, like the video if you want, and stop by next time everyone. Peace.